Dolphins training camp is officially underway. Go down and subscribe so you don't miss anything. We're bringing you all Dolphins content throughout training camp. You don't want to miss anything. Go down and subscribe to the channel. Excuse me, I got to get ready for camp. Down, set, hut. Oh! Dolphins Today is sponsored by Mint Mobile. Our newest sponsor here at Chat Sports is offering you cell phone plans starting as low as $15 per month. With that, we get into today's show. I am Will Scott. We got to take a behind-the-scenes look at this. Man, I'm pretty sure Austin Jackson was my lead blocker here because Chase Sr. came out of nowhere and hit me like Jalen Phillips, man. So shout out to Chase Sr. Shout out to Patrick Seatman, our producer. We like to have a lot of fun here at Chat Sports. And look, I was getting ready for training camp. The Dolphins are getting ready for training camp. It gets underway today in Miami Gardens, and we're going to be breaking down 5 storylines to watch at training camp. There's my guy Cheetah rolling up to camp. Let's freaking go. His first training camp with the Dolphins. And then we got X pulling up. Let's go, man. Spam X down in the comments section. And then we have a new name here, Terron Armstead, his first training camp as a Miami Dolphin. And then my guy Duke Riley pulling up in a Dan Marino shirt. I'm fired up seeing those guys come to camp. And if you're fired up, you should go down, like this video. If you're excited about training camp, football is almost back. Go down, hit that thumbs up icon if you're ready for football season. Now let's break down these storylines because my number 5 storyline to watch at training camp is the running back room. And this is a very interesting situation that the Dolphins are in here because they signed 3 running backs in free agency. Chase Edmonds, Sony Michel, and Raheem Mostert. Myles Gaskin still on this roster for now. Salvon Ahmed, Jared Dokes, Zaquandre White all vying for spots on this roster. Raheem Mostert announced yesterday on Twitter that he is medically cleared to play. Of course, he had a season-ending knee injury that he suffered in Week 1 last year with San Francisco, missed 16 games. He's back. That's huge for the Dolphins. And Zaquandre White, another running back on this Dolphins roster, who was pretty good last season in South Carolina, wasn't their primary back, but went for 6.6 yards per carry. FanSided said this about Zaquandre a few weeks ago. He's an interesting prospect for the Miami Dolphins and a player that could shake up the entire running back room. He'll be competing for a roster spot, or at the very least, turn heads of another scout from another team that could land him a place on their roster. White has a big battle ahead, but he has the tools and ceiling to be very good. Let's talk about another running back. That is Myles Gaskin, who was RB1 last season. Now he's RB4. Gaskin very much on the trade block. He's been in NFL trade rumors. A lot of other channels here at Chat Sports have talked about the possibility of making a deal with the Dolphins for Gaskin, including the Saints channel. The Dolphins have a lot of running back depth. Other teams around the league, including the Saints, don't have a lot. They might want to trade for Gaskin. The Dolphins would save $2.5 million by doing that. And I think the running back room is very unpredictable, might be the most unpredictable position in training camp because the top 3 running backs on this team, Mostert, Sony Michel, and Edmonds, are very similar in terms of skill set. Any one of those guys could emerge and be RB1. So who is going to separate themselves at training camp? That's what's going to be fun to watch. How many running backs do you think are going to make this team? Is it 3, 4, maybe 5? Go down in the comments section and chime in. Let's talk about the linebackers now because there's a very interesting competition going on for the 3rd inside linebacker spot between Channing Tindall and Duke Riley. And when you take a look at this depth chart, whichever one of those guys wins that competition, I believe will have a very good chance to take a Landon Roberts starting job by year's end. Here's what Barry Jackson said about Tindall. He is probably the better pass rusher. Riley has 0.5 career sacks, partly a result of a lack of usage as a rusher. Conversely, as a pass rusher, PFF rated Tindall 28th out of 333 linebackers who had enough pass rush chances to qualify. He had 5.5 sacks last season, 12 in his career at Georgia. Duke Riley played 21% of the Dolphins' defensive snaps last season And the question is, how many of those snaps will be poached by Channing Tindall, the rookie third-rounder? At least initially, I would expect Riley to play more. He was very good in OTAs, while Tindall was hit and miss, as you would expect from a rookie. So I want you all to go down in the comments section. Tell me who you got. This is the competition for the third inside linebacker job. Is it going to be the veteran, Duke Riley, who is in his second season as a Dolphin? Or is it going to be the rookie Channing Tindall? Type DR for Riley or type CT for Tindall down in the comments section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. When ad break comes, go down. Let me know what you think. Is it DR or is it CT? Here's what Tindall did last season at Georgia. It was one of the better pass-rushing inside linebackers in the SEC. And obviously the SEC, by far the best conference in college football. I'm sorry, Miami Hurricane fans. The ACC is just not there yet. 7.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 67 tackles. But I think Riley and Tindall are going to have different roles. I think both of these guys are going to be utilized, but in different ways. Riley will be better in pass coverage. Tindall will be better in the pass rush. Both guys are going to be useful as backup linebackers, and Mint Mobile is going to be useful for you because we're all trying to save money right now with inflation, right? Mint Mobile is going – I literally bought a $21 margarita last night. I'm never doing that again, and I'm never going back to Verizon because I was paying all this money for Verizon. Mint Mobile, $15 per month. It's going to switch seamlessly between 5G and 4G LTE, whatever network is the strongest. Unlimited premium wireless, starting at $15 per month. That's the link right there, mintmobile.com/chatsports. So important to save money in today's society. You can do that with Mint Mobile. Let's get to my next storyline here. That is the possibility of the Dolphins bringing somebody else in. Obviously, they signed Mohamed Sanu yesterday. Could the Dolphins make yet another move? And we saw a lot of notable free agents sign yesterday, Riley Reiff being one of them. This coming from Adam Schefter. Former Bengals offensive tackle Riley Reiff reached an agreement today on a one-year deal worth up to $12.5 million, with $10 million likely to be earned with the Chicago Bears, per source. My immediate reaction to this is an overpay. I mean, this is ridiculous, and I know we've talked about Reiff as a possible option for the Dolphins, and yeah, he'd be an upgrade over Jackson, but he's not worth $12.5 million, and I think this is going to affect the offensive line market because Daryl Williams is going to be like, hey, if Riley Reiff is getting $12.5, I want more than that. Heck, even JC Tretter might be, I'm worth more than $12.5 million, even with my injury concerns and all that comes with me. So I definitely think this is going to affect the offensive line market. And when you look at the current depth chart for the Dolphins, they could benefit by bringing in another offensive lineman. You don't have a whole lot of experience from Eichenberg, Williams, and Jackson at their new positions. Here are the available offensive linemen out there in free agency. So you have JC Tretter. Gosh, that'd be something. We're going to have a party here on Dolphins Today if JC gets signed, and it is looking like he might get signed by the end of this week with just the trend we're seeing, a lot of notable guys getting picked up finally at the start of training camp. Daryl Williams, Bobby Massey, Matt Paradis, Eric Flowers also still available in free agency. Outside of offensive linemen, here are the best free agents left. Odell Beckham Jr. is still out there and available. Now, the Dolphins do not need another wide receiver, especially after signing Sanu, so that's going to be interesting. It'd be a lot of fun if they brought in OBJ, but they don't need him. Dunlap has been a name linked to the Dolphins a lot. Please do not sign Antonio Brown. That'd be a disaster. There's one name that I could pick from this list. It would be A.J. Johnson. I think that'd be a tremendous pickup for the Dolphins. Will the Dolphins make another signing this week? Type S for sign or type W for won't. Down in the comments section. Go down and predict it. Let's talk about Tua, and this is a really big year for Tua, and it starts with training camp. And look, the guys have bought in. They have rallied behind him. That includes head coach Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill. We've seen him go out of his way to defend his quarterback. That's my quarterback. So many times. Here's what Jaylen Waddle said on Tyreek's podcast the other week. I ain't going to lie. That boy looks scary right now. He's been that guy since Alabama. He's been the same guy. He's going to come in consistent, accurate. He's going to make the throws he's supposed to throw. He's going to show out, be a great leader. He's going to be all that. The plays he be making in practice, it's like I've been seeing that. It's like I'm going to be happier when everyone else gets to see what I already know. I'm just excited for that, not just for me. but for him. It is time for Tua Tagovailoa to show out. And yes, it starts at training camp. He needs to turn in a good training camp, give him momentum for the preseason games, which will give him momentum for the regular season. Here's what he's done in his career. And when you look at the stats aren't bad. They're better than Zach Wilson. They're better than Trevor Lawrence. They're better than a lot of other quarterbacks in this league. 27 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, nearly 4,500 yards. And he did that with the worst offensive line in football. He did that with a coaching staff that did not support him. Imagine what he's going to do with all the new weapons this season and Mike McDaniel. Let's talk about the offensive line, though, because that is still a concern when you're talking about Tua. He does not have an offensive line. That is why it's the number one storyline at training camp. What is going to happen with this offensive line? I think keeping the offensive line as it is very risky. I would like the Dolphins to go out and sign someone that I just mentioned because they have 3 starters on the offensive line that do not have any experience at their current positions. Connor Williams, 0 career snaps at center. Austin Jackson, none at right tackle. Liam Eichenberg, none at left guard. That is not good. That is not good at all. This is a big year for Tua Tagovailoa. He needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay protected. Here's what Tom Downey of the Cowboys Report here at Chat Sports said. The Cowboys gave Connor Williams reps at center before the 2021 season, and it was not good. He had issues snapping. Maybe actual prep time at the position will help, but he wasn't good. Look, we're going to find out about Connor Williams as a center pretty quickly, right? The Cowboys found out pretty quickly, and they found out that it was a disaster. 1 year later, he's on the Dolphins. He's trying it again. And when the media comes to training camp in a few days, that first media session, and when fans come to training camp, we're going to find out if he can snap a football or not. Will Connor Williams be the starting center week 1? Go down and predict it. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Look, I hope Connor proves me wrong, and I've slammed that decision on this show to make him the center, but if he can go out there and be better than Michael Dieter, which should not be hard to do. Producer Patrick Seidman could be a better center than Michael Dieter. I don't know if I could be, but definitely Patrick. Look, when you look at the current offensive line, it makes me nervous. Connor Williams probably makes me the most nervous. Go down and let me know, is he going to be the starting center week 1? Thanks for watching this edition of Dolphins Today. Appreciate you all watching and subscribing to the channel. This has been Willie Fins. Talk to you tomorrow.